So we're back from our overnight trip with my son and two of his friends that had never been backpacking before, and I thought I would do a quick pack shakedown to show you guys what I carried in my pack for just a one-night short overnight trip. So for this trip I used my Osprey Talon 44. Love this pack. It's supportive. I can get about 25 or 30 pounds worth of gear in it, although my pack before I left with a dinner and breakfast and snack food for 4 people weighed in right around 18 and a half pounds. I typically, try and keep my pack between 22 and 25 pounds for, a 3 or 4 day trip, although I can get it a little bit lighter in the summer. But love the Osprey Talon 44. So one of the things I like to do is keep my pack very streamlined. So I don't like to have a lot of clutter, many things hanging off of it. So really the only thing I have on the outside of my pack is a little sit pad. So this is a 2 sections of a Z-Rest sleeping pad. Use it in the winter when it's a little bit colder out. I can put it on the ground if the ground's wet, or maybe on a picnic table when I get to the shelter. And then at night I stick it under my air mattress just for a little bit extra warmth. Very nice to have when it's winter out. Now on the outside in the front pocket, I like to keep things that are going to be handy during the day when I'm hiking. Now we didn't have an on-trail lunch, but if this was a multi-day trip, I would keep all my sort of necessities right on the outside of my pack. Since it's wintertime, I'm using my Shakedown Hiker Pro, a little bit more resilient to the cold weather, and I don't have to worry about it freezing like I would my Sawyer Squeeze. Shakedown Pro goes right on the outside of the pack so I can quickly grab it if we're going to be in an area where I need the filter. 2-liter water bottle. Again, we get to camp, maybe there's a water source on the trail on the way to camp. I can fill up a 2-liter and then just carry it the rest of the way to camp with me, just stick it on the outside of my pack here. Or if I need to filter water for the group for lunch, it's all right handy and very accessible. Got my food koozie for rehydrating and keeping warm any meals that I may cook for lunch. In here, just keep my eating utensil just so it's handy and I know exactly where it is. Again, I want to have everything easy to get to, and I'm not undoing my pack at a rest stop. Top flap, I keep just some basics for the day. Got a hat, a couple snacks in here, some peanut butters, just some little things that I may want to grab on the go. Got my headlamp in case we get stuck hiking after dark, or I get to camp and know where it is easily. And I have my little black diamond emoji up here. Nice little ambient camp light. Getting into the main body of the pack, again, when I get to camp, I want to be efficient about how I'm unpacking so I'm not digging a bunch of things out of my pack. So if I want to stop and have dinner right away before I set up camp, I have my Pocket Rocket 2 and my Toaks titanium stove and my mug. Keep my food bag up on top, whether I'm stopping for a lunch break or if I'm making dinner right away. You can grab this, hang it up right at camp. Got some TP, might want to have that handy. Sometimes this lives in one of the outside pockets of my pack as well, just in case of emergency calls when I'm out in nature. And I always keep a couple extra plastic bags in here just for some garbage while I'm out on the trail. This is my Big Agnes Seat House SL1 tent. Lives in my pack. I didn't use it this weekend. We ended up staying in one of the AT shelters, but I wanted to bring it with me just in case the shelter was full when we got there, or maybe the shelter was facing into the wind and there was a breeze blowing into the shelter. I have an option to pitch my tent. The boys also carried a 3-man tent with them, so they would have the same capability if we got there and they wanted to tent camp instead of sleeping in the shelter. We would, but the boys carried their own sleeping system. I keep kind of a ditty bag in my pack. This just has some of my sort of camp sundries. I got an extra fuel canister, little first aid kit. I got my bear line in here. And I have my little personal hygiene bag, which has some environmentally safe biodegradable soap. I got some hand sanitizer and a little camp towel. That just lives in a climbing harness bag from one of my Black Diamond climbing harnesses that I bought a couple years ago. Probably could be a little bit lighter, but it's got some important things in there, and I'm typically hiking with friends or my family, so I just carry a little bit bigger of a first aid kit. Now when I get to camp, I'm going to want to set up my tent or if I'm sleeping in a shelter, kind of get set up very easily. So I'm taking things out of the pack that I'm going to use systematically. So the tent would go in higher than my air mattress. If I get to camp and it's raining, I want to throw my tent up real quick and stash the rest of my pack in there and then start unpacking. Or maybe I can, throw the tent together and if it's raining for the day, I can, probably cook in my shelter or something to get me out of the elements. But the next thing I'm going to dig out is my air mattress. This is a Big Agnes Q-Core Deluxe. A little on the heavier side, but it's a lot on the comfortable side. I love it. This is one of my creature comforts that I will not go without. It's a 25 by 70 air mattress, so it's big and wide. I'm kind of a big guy, and I also like to sleep on my side and roll around a little bit. So I think the extra 7 ounces or so for this is well worth it to me. I've got a stuff sack for some extra clothes. Didn't really bring too many extra clothes with me. I kind of wore most of them along the way, but my stuff sack for clothes, usually in a little waterproof compression sack. And then down at the bottom of my pack is my sleeping bag. In this case, I brought my Mountain Hardwear Ultra Lamina 32, and it's tied up here in a Sea to Summit Event compression sack. These are really nice. The air compresses out of the bottom and it's waterproof. I typically don't compress it all the way, so I can shove it down to the bottom of the pack and then let it conform to the inside of the pack so it's not just a hard little football that I have to kind of cram things around. So that was my kit for this weekend. I got my tent poles on the outside, and I got a little ground cloth on one side that I made out of a piece of painter's tarp, and then my smart water bottles. I'll typically carry either 1 or 2 of these on a hike, depending on what the water situation is. It's been a pretty wet fall and winter, so there's a lot of streams that are running, and my confidence level was high that we would have multiple options to filter water while we were hiking, so I just brought one plus the platypus. Anyway, I'd like to keep things simple. If I go through all of this stuff and really try and figure out what I need or what I didn't use, I'm pretty confident that I would stick everything back in my pack. I packed pretty efficiently. And the only thing I would maybe say I could ditch would be maybe the extra stove canister of fuel, but again, you don't want to be caught out in the winter with some extra, without extra fuel. And that's about it, guys. So had a great time hiking with the boys this weekend. Certainly love getting out with my son and taking him backpacking, as well as the rest of my family when we have the opportunity. But on this occasion, I had the opportunity to introduce 2 other kids to backpacking, and they had an awesome time. We had so much fun. They did great. And I think they're going to be back for more, which is ultimately my goal and what I'd love to see, to kind of give my gift to the rest of the outdoor community, and introducing new hikers to the sport is something that's a lot of fun to me. So anyway, hey, we got out there and we got after it this weekend. Now it's your turn. Don't forget, get up, get out, and get after it.